Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, aka the guy who shows his boner to girls in his room and leaves them more disappointed than the Evan Peters reveal. Wandavision has now concluded, but there's still a lot of questions up in the air. Throughout this video, we're going to be breaking down Agatha's plan, Ralph, what happened with the Doctor Strange cameo, and a lot more. Obviously, we don't want to ruin the show, so if you haven't seen it, click off now if you don't want any spoilers. If you enjoy the video and crap puns in general, then please click the thumbs up and make sure you subscribe for breakdowns like this each and every day. With that out of the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into your questions. Okay, so even after finishing the series, I've seen a lot of people confused over what Agatha's plan was. The villainess made one of the biggest bangers of the 20s so far, and Catherine Hahn was spellbinding in every moment. Many, myself included, believed that it would be revealed that Agatha's husband Ralph had become trapped somewhere, and similar to Wanda, she was trying to find a way to bring him back with a massive dong. However, this wasn't the case, and it's left people's seniors scratching their head over exactly what she was after. What the hell was it? Well, calm down and I'll tell you, yeah? And in order to discuss this, we have to go back to 1693, namely Agatha's trial. During this, we learn that she had been dabbling in powers above her station, and after being sentenced, she absorbed the life force of her coven. Agatha was clearly obsessed with power from a young age, and when Wanda appeared on the scene, she likely started to watch over her. Agatha revealed to Wanda that she had been following her for a while, and she likely tracked her to Westview, which is where she saw what she was doing in the Hex firsthand. This is why she swoops in wearing her normal clothes, and joins the sitcom alongside that absolute banger. Now, a big question over the series was who had hypnotized the police to ignore Westview. Though initially suspected to be Wanda, because this was outside the Hex, we now know that Agatha was probably the one behind it. This sort of sets up her plan, which was to keep everyone on the outside oblivious to what was going on, so that she could remain in the Hex with Wanda until she was finally drained, similar to the boy in the Yo Magic commercial. Agatha also wanted to learn how Wanda was able to accomplish what she did, and therefore the longer she kept her in there, the better. Now, the best way to make her remain in the Hex was to have her gain emotional attachments to those inside it. After watching her create Vision, she subliminally hinted to her that she should have kids, as this would make her remain behind for their children. When Wanda started to question things, she took a local of Westview and then had them masquerade as her deceased brother in order to keep her static. Knowing that Monica and Vision were also starting to uncover the truth, she found ways to separate them from the character and started to sink her claws in more and more. Agatha eventually planned to reveal herself when Wanda was isolated, and this is why she put Vision as far away as she could and also kidnapped her kids. This would make Wanda eventually attack her so that she could absorb her power and become an even more powerful witch. But what happened to Agatha after the events of the season? Well, when her plan failed, Wanda left her trapped in the illusion of being a nosy neighbour. I'm not sure where she would go now, as we know that Ralph lives in her house, but Catherine Hahn did state in an interview with the New York Times that she was still stuck in this persona. This also means that the spell would remain even after the Hex closed. This leaves a lot of things up in the air for her future, and when going over what was next for the character, Hahn said the following: "Agatha needed to rest for a hot second. She's been very restless for the moment." I'll stop with that. She's been very restless for the moment. I think she's actually okay to just loosen the corset and sit and have a muffin and a latte, which is a nice thing to say. Now, Hahn stated that Marvel were keeping tight-lipped over whether she would return, but the actress said she'd definitely be up for doing more. The Times even asked if she thought there was a chance of her fitting the mentor role similar to the comics, and here's what she said: "I felt that strongly too. At the end of that, there was a possibility that we'd join up. So it does seem like Agatha will be returning. I'm not sure if the people of Westview know she and Agnes are one and the same, so maybe she's just gonna sit back and watch the Kevin Spoilers show featuring Chevy spoilers." Now, for a lot of the other questions, I want to go to the Fat Man Beyond podcast hosted by Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin. The pair have just had a big interview with Matt Shakman, the series director, who cleared up a lot of the confusion. He did say that the show was originally supposed to be 10 episodes long, but they cut them down in order to streamline the series. It's also been reported that the Doctor Strange cameo was supposed to pop up in this 10th entry, but that it was taken out so the plot point could appear in his upcoming movie. If you've been following our coverage on the show, then you'll know that I've often said I thought the series would end with Wanda on her own without Vision, and this would be because it would be confusing for fans who only watch the films to go from Endgame to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Therefore, I'm predicting that Strange will just pop up and pay some lip service to the show in which he talks about how she's dabbled in magic that involves bringing her husband back to life and creating children. Thus, when White Vision and the kids pop up down the line, those that haven't seen the show will just be filled in with this one thing and assume that after the events of Endgame, that's what Wanda did. Now that's just me guessing, but my gran, shout out to my gran, actually loves the MCU, but she doesn't have Disney Plus. Now they do need to stop Marvel maniacs like her getting lost, so that makes the most sense to me. Now Shackman also revealed that there was a big scene that they cut that involved Monica and the kids sneaking into Agatha's basement in order to steal the Darkhold. During this it was revealed that Senor Scratchy was actually a demon, and this kind of dived off from a conversation about everyone being Mephisto, and I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again, hey? That's a bit of a pun there. Anyway, I'll play the clip so you can see what Shackman had to say.
I loved the, everything down to like the cicada on the curtain was Mephisto. Everyone was Mephisto. The mailman was Mephisto.
I thought the rabbit. I was like, the rabbit, Mr. Scratchy's got.
Well, let me just say something about Senor Scratchy. We did have something more planned for Senor Scratchy, which we ultimately couldn't do just because the finale, we had so many different, as I said, so many different chess pieces on the. But we did have a whole sequence where Darcy, Monica, Ralph meet up with the kids, and they're in Agatha's house, and they think that maybe they should steal the Darkhold from the basement because the kids had seen it when they were down there being held hostage by Agatha. And they go down there to get the book, and they're reaching for the book, and the rabbit hops up in front of the book. And they're like, oh, it's Senor Scratchy, he's the best. And they like reach over to pet him, and he like hisses, and then this whole American Werewolf in London transformation happens, and the rabbit turns into this big demon, right? And so her like familiar, and then Goonies set piece ensues with all sorts of fun as they try to escape from the rabbit, But we shot it, but didn't finish all the VFX and stuff for it. And it was a great sequence. It was super fun. Everyone was great in it. But we ended up, moving it aside because it was a huge sort of detour in the middle of everything else that we had going. So yeah, so Senor Scratchy did have a little bit more left on the cutting room floor.
Now in the interview they also went over some Easter eggs and ones that were and weren't intentional. It actually turns out that the Kick-Ass one wasn't, and it was just a happy accident. As for the aerospace engineer, the director revealed that this line was reworked and messed about with during shooting, but that they didn't expect the internet to run with it like they did. What do you mean the aerospace engineer's Mephisto? I bloody knew it, I told you. Now it was always intended to be Major Goodner, and the only reason that Shackman said he didn't come and clear this up whilst the hype was running wild is because people would have got their answers eventually anyway. Now another big question is, who's Jimmy Woo's missing person in the witness protection program? This is still something that hasn't been answered, but lend me your ears as we discuss the two possibilities. Now the first is the mailman who says, "Don't shoot, I'm just a messenger." He repeats this throughout the show, and if he was wanted by people for snitching, then it's likely that he would be worried about getting shot. Typically, someone is put under witness protection because they give information to the police that puts them in grave danger. Mailmen also deliver information, so the ties are there if you like a reach, and we all know that here at the channel we reach for the stars. The other possibility is that it's actually Ralph Boner, who... Boner. Now this holds a lot of weight for a number of reasons. Firstly, we know that Jimmy Woo and Hayward were both concerned about this missing person, which is why the latter sent Monica to track him down. However, this plot point is dropped quicker than Vision when Wanda learns she can get herself a bad boy, and it never comes back up. Now the reason why this could be is because the pair actually learn that the missing person is in Westview when he shows up on Wanda's doorstep. It's kind of funny how immediately after his arrival, all the attention switches to Wanda, and it could be because them seeing him here confirms that he's okay. When we get his true identity, it's also on a weird headshot of himself. Now I don't know about you, yeah, but I'm pretty self-obsessed, and even I don't have photos of myself lying around with my name on it. What I do know about though is the witness protection program. You see, I used to be called Definition, but after I spoiled Avengers Endgame, I had to go into hiding because Mickey Mouse wanted me dead. I was given a cover story and a piece of paper with my photo and name on it so that I could learn it, and this is very similar to what we see here. The fact that Ralph laughs at his own name as well likely shows that it isn't really his, and therefore you can assume that he's actually the one in hiding. Shackman did say that sitcoms do a lot of meta jokes all the time, and that Evan Peters was picked to play Pietro for this exact reason. I don't want to be hard on him, but it was a bit of a flop, though I can see things from his perspective. Let's be honest, if it was just some random actor, we likely wouldn't have cared about the character, but the fact that it was Peters kept us coming back. Shackman stated that the X-Men are coming, so don't worry, and hopefully we get a Ralph Boner Disney Plus show coming in 2020. Thank you very much. Now, there are theories that he's actually still Quicksilver, and that he was put in witness protection and given a new identity because he's from another Earth, and they don't want people asking questions. I'm not getting yanked on that one anymore though, and I have accepted that this might be the only time we see him in the MCU. I hope not though. Now, another question we don't have the answer to is what happened to the Beekeeper. Shackman still hasn't clarified this, and I know this is a Your Questions Answered video, but I don't want to leave any questions out of it, as people will immediately start asking in the comments why I didn't talk about this. Now, there are two possibilities, with the most extreme one being that he became Swarm. Because we know the Hex grants powers to people if they pass in and out of it, a similar situation to what happened with Monica may have happened to him. We know his name is Franklin, and in the comics, Swarm's alter ego is Fritz. So Franklin, it's a Freach. Now, personally, I don't believe that, and what I think happened is that just in the same way that Wanda and Vision ended up going back in the house after she rewound time, that he likely ended up going back through the sewers. There's also White Vision, and though it feels like we should have got answers to what happened to him, Jack Schaefer, the showrunner, said, "There's no scene of where White Vision is in the world because the point is that he's not her guy. That's not the man that she had children with. That's not the one who's been in the sitcom world with him. That's not the one that she said goodbye to on a hill in Wakanda. That's the body and the data. So the purpose of me and my job on the show and what I focus on, where he ends up, is an afterthought to the story proper." So he is out there still and will likely be popping up in a property down the line. Personally, I think he went to Wakanda, but we do know that he'll be back, potentially to stop Wanda going off the deep end. Anyway, that's the video, and I hope you enjoyed us clearing up some things and giving possibilities for the other things that we didn't get clarity on. If you request elaboration, then the comments are the perfect place to go, as I'm sure someone much smarter than me will have an answer for you. As a thank you for interacting with the video, you'll be entered into a prize draw on the 31st of March, in which we're giving away 3 copies of a Marvel 4K box set of your choice. All you have to do to be on the chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the series and just questions in general. The winners of last month's competition are on screen right now, so if that's you, then message me on Twitter at Heavy Spoilers. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of why Justice League sucks, which will be linked on screen right now. We've gone over the movie top to bottom, got a little bit drunk whilst doing it, and just ripped it apart. If not though, hopefully I'll see you soon, mates, and take care. I mean, Paul. Goodbye. What do you say your name was? I don't care. I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.